welcome to the Kelly Roach Show, a place for no fluff, easy to implement, 20-minute or less business and leadership lessons to help you build a sustainable business that scales. Let's get started. Welcome back, and thanks so much for tuning into the Kelly Roach Show. Today, we are unpacking navigating doubt as a business leader. Now, I think that every human goes through periods of self-doubt. And I think that that's part of our learning curve and it's part of growth. But I think it's especially difficult to go through periods of self-doubt when you are responsible for not just self-leadership, but leadership at home, leadership of your team, leadership of your clients, and leadership of the market. And the truth of the matter is as business leaders, more times than not, we are in the waiting or gestation period of creation where we're hanging in the balance, not in the space of we haven't gotten started yet, and not in the space of celebrating the result or success that we've created, but most of the time we're in that middle space of doing the work and putting in the investment of time and energy and effort and hard work, but not yet seeing the outcome. And it can be really difficult as a leader to show up with certainty and conviction and confidence when we're in that middle gestation period between getting started on the next growth phase or the next thing that we want to materialize and achieving it. And for a lot of business owners, this is where this massive amount of guilt and fear and frustration and impostor syndrome all come in. Because here you are, you're teaching others. Here you are, you're leading others. Here you are putting a stake in the ground saying, follow me. And yet, on the inside, you're having your own mindset issues because there's no material evidence in this moment of your next big up level. There's no material evidence in this moment of outcome. And so, of course, you feel like an imposter. Of course, this feels wildly uncomfortable for you because if you have normal human emotions, there's a little bit of friction there, right? Because on one hand, you're dreaming big and you're taking action. And on the other hand, you're like, but my results aren't showing it. So who am I? Well, today we're going to talk about how to work through those emotions and how to overcome those emotions as a business leader. So first and foremost, I just want to give you all just the hugest congratulations. And I want you to just take a moment, put your hand on your heart and just say thank you to your body and to your mind and your spirit for getting you to this place. Because most people, by the time they reach, their early 30s, they've given up on dreaming. They have given up on dreaming. If you're listening to this podcast today, I know that you are one of the rare people, the 1%ers, that not only haven't given up on dreaming, but are still charging fast and hard in the direction of your dreams. And that's really tough. And I say this all the time, but if you are a person of excellence that is always raising the bar for yourself and is always continuing to try and learn and grow and become more, 99% of the time, not only do you feel like you're failing, but in all practical terms, you are failing because you know where you want to be and you're not there. And so I always say that 1% moment where we finally feel successful, where we finally achieve the thing that we've been working towards, sometimes for months or years leading up to that, when that moment comes, it's not because you did anything in that moment. It's because all of those years of not giving up and all of those months and weeks of, feeling the frustration of not being there yet, but continuing to do the right things anyway. So just take a moment and be grateful for your ability to overcome all the things that you've overcome up until this point, and also believe and know that the best is yet to come, because it is. The best absolutely is yet to come. And when it comes to you as a leader being able to navigate self-doubt, here's what you have to remember. First of all, it may not be spoken about openly a lot, but we all feel these things. We all go through these emotions. We all go through those who am I moments, right? I had a moment the other day where I had something devastating that happened to me. And I literally said to myself in that moment, I said, but God, I thought you wanted me to lead. I thought this is what you wanted me to do. But there's no evidence right now. Am I doing the wrong thing? Am I not on the right path? Am I not where I want to be? Literally, these are the questions that I ask, because in that moment, the message and the heartache that I was feeling was so devastating that I was questioning everything and saying to myself, but I thought this is what you were calling me to do. And yet these things keep happening. And am I on the wrong path, right? And so I experienced that deep self-doubt just the other day. And I experienced that self-doubt continuously. And I think that's part of human experience. It's part of us processing and growing and feeling all the emotions that come with setting big goals and trying to process the struggles that we face on the way to accomplishing them. And for me, that's exactly what that was. I was, really trying to process how to deal with some of the challenges that I'm facing right now, and that I'm trying to work through, and that I'm trying to interpret and understand. You're putting this on my lap, and I'm going through this thing for what? What is the learning? What is the message? What am I supposed to take of this, right? And I've learned that it's so important, and in any moment, to just be open to being in receipt of God's will in our lives, and that we are going to experience self-doubt, but we need to turn to him and ask him, am I on the path, right? And sometimes we get an answer right away, and sometimes we don't. And sometimes we have to just listen to our instincts and trust and believe and keep going, even though we don't have that, full on keep going that we're looking for, right? But it is normal. And I think it's important to remember that in business and in life, everything is a process of going from the invisible to the visible. Think about that for a moment. Everything is a process of going from invisible to visible. Everything is a process of moving from your imagination to your physical creation, right? Everything. But there's a lot of times a long waiting period in between those two things, a long waiting period between the creative, imaginative idea that you have, and then the ability to materialize that idea and turn it into something meaningful, right? And in that space between ideation and creation, you're going to hit a lot of road bumps along the way. But I think what we have to remember, and I say this all the time, is that our lives are simply a blank canvas. And everything that we do each day is us taking out the paintbrush and making a decision about what we want the colors and the shapes and the feeling and the energy and the output of our lives to be, right? And a huge part of navigating that self-doubt is trusting that you're on the path that you're meant to be on, that you're capable of more, that you were made for more, and that nothing is going to stop you from living out your purpose. I think the happiest people on the planet are the most grateful people that are living their life on purpose. And the most unhappy people on the planet are the people that have given up on their purpose, given up on their dreams, and aren't grateful, not just for the high highs, but the low lows and everything that they learned from them. Because the most important things that cultivate us as leaders to be able to lead at that next level, to be able to impact, to be able to serve, to be able to manifest, right, is the lessons that we learn during that gestation period, during that growth period, during the part where the iceberg is underneath the surface and we can't see all the progress and all the growth and all the work and all the creation, right? And so this is what it's all about, all right? So self-doubt is going to creep in. And what you have to keep reminding yourself of is that this is human, this is normal, this is part of my growth process. And then ask yourself, how do you go from doubting to believing? You prove it to yourself. How do you go from doubting to believing? You don't quit. How do you go from doubting to believing? You get some small representation that you're making progress. How do you get some small representation that you're making progress? By not giving up. And so it's a circle. It's a circle of life that just keeps going and going. The only way that you conquer self-doubt is by showing yourself that you can and you will. And the only way you can show yourself that you can and you will is fighting for that little incremental sign, that little incremental progress that you're on the right path. And then you take that little win and you turn it into a medium-sized win. And then you take that medium-sized win, turn it into a big win. And you keep rolling that snowball from there. Okay? Now, practically speaking, what do you do when you're in this huge period of self-doubt because you're struggling with this thing in front of you in your business? And what do you do especially, and this is why I created this episode, because I had someone reach out that specifically was saying, I teach this thing and I'm actually struggling with it right now. Well, guess what? Every person who teaches a thing at some moment in their journey is going to be struggling with that thing, because success is never a straight line. So if you teach about eating healthy, you're never going to have a cheat day, or you're never going to have a bad day, or you're never going to make an eating mistake. False. Teach about spirituality, you're never going to have a day where you doubt. False. Teach about business, you're never going to have a bad month. False, right? Whatever you teach, you are also going to live the highest highs and the lowest lows. And the longer that you're in the game, the more that you're going to go through all of the seasons and cycles of growth, of expansion, of pruning, of reinvention, of planting, of harvesting. You're going to experience all of those things. So this is why teach what you know. Teach what you know to be true. Teach what is so deeply ingrained in your mind and your heart and your spirit that no one can take that away from you. Teach what you know. When you're in a moment of doubt, lean into the thing more than anything that you know has been the fuel for your success. Lean in more than anything to the thing that you know is the reason why you've gotten to where you are. When I've struggled with self-doubt, and I have, and I do, just like everyone does, I lean into serving and teaching, because no matter what anyone can say about me, no matter what failings I have, no matter what things come up, I know that the thing that got me here, which is teaching and serving and giving my heart and sharing what I know and giving my gift to the world in this way, on this podcast, in this content that I create, this is what I know that I know that I know, right? There's no doubt around this. And that doesn't mean that I'm perfect, and doesn't mean that I'm not going to go through more times of struggle and self-doubt. But teach what you know. Go back to your roots. Go back to your why. Go back to the thing that was the reason you got started. And when you do that, you're going to find fulfillment and contentment and excitement, and you're going to light that flame again. But also, you're going to reinvigorate your results. Because whenever you go back to what you know to be true, that's a no matter what foundation of your success, you're going to begin to reinvent around that success. You're going to take everything that you learned and everything that you know to be true, and you're going to build on it, and you're going to expand and build your empire. So self-doubt comes up for everyone. Self-doubt is a normal part of the journey. It is an obvious part of the gestation period, because there is a long waiting between ideation and creation, no matter what the result is, no matter what area of life you're talking about, whatever area of life you're working on. And remember that when we talk about leading and building your empire and growing your impact and influence in the world, it all starts with self-leadership. It all starts with our ability to control our emotions and to make strategic decisions that are going to move us forward in spite of how we feel. So controlling your emotions, feeling what you feel, but not allowing it to determine how you show up and whether you show up and whether you keep running the reps and doing the work. So many people, when they feel a certain way, they pull back in their business and they sabotage their own success because they're making decisions based on emotion, not based on strategy or based on what is required in order to get to where they want to go. So when in doubt, lean into your center, lean into the thing that you know to be true, that has been your source of success and creation over and over again. And know that it's not you. Know that it's part of your growth process. When you're feeling self-doubt, it means you are merging outside your comfort zone. You are expanding. You are growing into something that is beyond what you already feel safe in doing and knowing. That means that you're making progress. You're making progress. And all of us go through this, right? So when you get that level of discomfort and you're having that self-doubt because now you're merging into murky water that you can't see the bottom and you feel intimidated and you feel overwhelmed and you feel scared, just know that that is the process of you evolving and growing. And sometimes we have to be brought back to our foundation, brought back to our roots in order to reemerge and build upon them. Sometimes we start getting off on a tangent and we start merging into areas that we're not meant to be in. And sometimes we get pulled back, right? Sometimes we get pulled back to that foundation so that we can rebuild again, but stronger and better at this time.